with the entire community. And as Andrew said, my name is Newton Karera. I've known Andrew from, I think, 2016, or 2017, around there. We had a project we're doing at the time called the Google Digital Skills. That's how we got to meet and know each other, and that's how we connect today. And when I got a call from Andrew regarding this opportunity, I definitely had to embrace it because I have known him and I know what he stands for, what he believes in. And most importantly, my passion goes towards empowering fellow young Africans, well, individuals, so that we build in Africa where we're all collectively contributing towards it. And most importantly, where everyone is productive, because that's the only way we can increase productivity as a country, as a generation. Yeah, that's what I can really mention. Yes, I do different works ranging from international relations, which is my background, and but a lot of work has been self-taught, where I've just had to learn through mentors, through self-education, really, as we can call it, and yeah, but a lot of it ranges also within the line of security. We do investments, also, stretch when it comes to anything to do with real estate, which is what Andrew was referring to between Uganda and the US market. So I think that's primarily what I've been doing. At least I've been engaged in some cross-border transactions, relations across Uganda, as well as the UK. That's one of my countries that I focus on. Rwanda as a country of interest. So yeah, I'm a father who is proud. I'm a father of two, just so I can put it out there. I wish they were on this call with me. So the subject discussion is one that I'm interested in, especially how do we market ourselves beyond the border points we have. And I keep telling most people that these border points we have are just boundaries that human beings created. And the same human beings that created these border points have also come up with things like the internet so that we relate beyond the borders. So it's just the human nature. At the end of the day, we can relate to and we can talk about. But most importantly, I think I'll get my camera on for purposes of people seeing my face. You may think you're talking to a robot. So I'll just get my camera on for a minute or so. For those who don't know my face, this is my face. But for purpose of the network, I will switch my camera off in a moment. So, like I said, the same human beings that created the borders, like you see the border lines we have today, are the same people that have gone ahead to actually create internet as a means of making sure we can relate beyond borders and make sure your skills are transferable and can be exported beyond the border point. But when we went to school, especially at the inception stage, very few people got the access to know what it means to trade beyond the border point, except only learn things to do with the histories of different countries, its politics, its governance, and so forth. But now the little bit is very good, but then it does not address the issue of economics, because economics is what makes you live, me live, everyone else of us coexist. So yeah, I think as I mentioned to Mr. Andrew, I'm so delighted and privileged to be part of this session. I'd proposed earlier that maybe I could take your questions to know the direction you may have. We may take maybe 2, 3, 4 questions, if any. Then I delve into what I prepared. I prepared some notes, which unfortunately may not be a PowerPoint, but I can share with Andrew after here. I keep calling him as Andrew, Mr. Andrew Tugume. Forgive me for that, because I keep referring to him as a colleague I've known for the longest time. So if there are maybe 1 or 2 questions that are there, let me know. If not, I'll go straight to our point of discussion. Thank you. Over to you, Andrew, again.
Okay. So yeah. So I see people are writing. We need more people to write. Noella is saying she does digital marketing, graphics design. She's new to the freelancing field. She's interested in learning how to package herself. Yeah, so you bring them on so that we give direction to the speaker. You write them down so that the speaker gets direction. I think we can continue as planned, Newton. Then I'll be giving you heads up in case we have enough
Okay.
direct. Yeah. Also,
Thank
happy
you.
Father's Day. Today is Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And happy Father's Day to any fathers on this group. And those who are not fathers, don't be in a rush. Your time will come. First, understand freelancing, but you'll be a father sometime soon. Yours is coming. All right. Thank you very much. Just to start, it's very exciting to feel that you want to be a freelancer, you want to be a consultant, you want to be your own boss, you want to be self-employed, whatever you may call it, like Miss Andrew said earlier, because it gives you the freedom to choose the kind of direction you want to take with your future, and working on your own terms. So those who know me, they will know the fact that I'm the kind who ideally hates to wake up very early in the morning, but I can work until 6 a.m. in the morning. In other words, like I don't mind working the whole night. Excuse me. But I don't mind working the whole night. But that's the freedom freelancing, consultancy, self-employment brings. And also build your own career on your own terms. However, like we all must be thinking about it, navigating through clients, where do you start from? How do you manage clients? And especially those who are thinking of building clientele beyond the Ugandan border point. Oh, let's even not look beyond the Ugandan border point. Let's say you're in Kampala, but you have another client let's say in Kisoro. How do you deal with them? So sometimes this can be so challenging, and such could also include, things to do with how do I charge them, what kind of contracts, how do I manage this relationship. Most times, you get to realize that someone is very good at relationship, but are very terrible when it comes to charging. They almost want to do everything for free. And then you realize that those who are really very good at charging, but the relationship with clients is terrible. So those are sometimes challenges sometimes we all face. And when do we charge? Now, I thought I could start my conversation by foremost telling you that, when doing what we call cross-border engagements or freelancing or consultancy, foremost thing you're working for, besides reputation, besides building a profile, is to make money. Is that correct? If anything, just feel free to write on the group. All we're doing it is to make money. You want to make money. You want to be like a Mark Zuckerberg. You want to be like a Tony Lemolo. You want to be like a Sudhir Ruparelia. You want to make money at the end of the day so that you can improve your personal life, your family life, and that of your community. If anything, you want to be able to accumulate wealth, but also be able to see that you're an impact to your community. But the question is, how do you not start charging people? Because you let someone has a brilliant idea, sometimes they're like, but how do I start charging? Because let's give an example, your digital marketeer, like I saw Noella mention on the group, if I got the name right. If you realize that Noella will charge a client, let's say, 500,000 a month. Then you find there's a client called New Digiton, for example. I'm just putting up a name, and they're charging $1,000. The question is, how do you even arrive at that? So I'll speak from when it comes to the issues to do with cross-border payments or cross-border relations. Foremost, most clients will look at the two formats of payments. There's what they call you charge per hour, then there's what they call you charge based on the project. And a lot of times, this is where we really, really go wrong. You realize the client likes you, but they're like, man, you're paying me. You're either underselling yourself or you're overselling it. The client finds you too expensive for them to afford. They will quickly walk away from you and feel like, look, you're good, but I don't think I need your services anymore. So one of the most important rules for freelancing, consultancy, or self-employment is to avoid charging. Okay, I'm going to explain both separately. Charging hourly versus charging per project. And I'll give you what works, and you can pick what works in your own context. Now, one of the most important rules for freelancers or consultants is to avoid charging on an hourly basis. I will explain why I think so. Instead, you should be able to charge based on the project scope and deliverables. What happens is that clients want to understand what is the scope of what we're going to do and what is the project. So first, make sure you understand the project scope and what are your deliverables as a person, so that you charge based on that. That allows you to build your relationship. That allows for you to build your clientele. That allows for you to build confidence with the client that you're just not charging them money for the sake of charging them money. Now, by doing so, you're not only valuing your expertise, but also providing transparency to your client. You know, clients will love transparency. People love transparency at 100%, if you may call it. Now, when you charge sometimes per hour, you realize that someone feels it's not transparent. They can't measure it sometimes as they wish to measure it. But if you're doing deliverables and also there's a project scope, they're able to measure it clearly and it's very transparent for your client. Now, as a market as a market expert, you might be, your expertise and your skills should be determining factors in setting your rates and not just your time spent. There's someone spending 10 hours a day, but what skill set are you bringing to the table? And also, most importantly, what expertise are you bringing? You may be competing with someone who has been in the market. There's a colleague, I may not mention his name, but Andrew know him. Okay, I'll use him. I'll use him an example as Attack. Attack is a digital, he does graphics and what have you. He may have a better way to describe himself anyway. But you realize that Attack will charge $1 million for a logo, whereas someone is going to charge 100K per logo. Why? You look at his skill set and expertise as an element of how he arrives at charging you money, and not about the amount of time spent. So let me just explain that further. Now, to calculate your project rate, consider how much time you typically spend on specific tasks and pair it with your ideal hour rate. For example, if you spend, let's say, 10 hours a week on a project for, let's say, hashtag or analysis or for whatever you may call it, let's say your hourly rate is $50. You can multiply these by the figures to determine the payment to which you arrive at. Now, when presenting your proposal to clients, list all the tasks involved in the project and provide an overall payment amount rather than sharing the exact payment per task. You realize someone tells you, like me, I'm charging $1,000, but the client just wants to know, how do you arrive at $1,000? What goes under $1,000? And that's why it's important really that you need to list what goes under the project for you. And this approach allows you to also negotiate the terms based on your expertise and the value you bring to the table. That is one aspect we can mention. Number two, I hope we're on the same page. I'll just explain the aspect of charging your client based on projects. Now, when you talk about milestone versus payments, first, some people tell you, man, pay me first before I start. You realize that sometimes that a milestone-based payment system is what most clients prefer. They prefer that, like I already explained, because it gives them clarity to the basics of how you're all going to grow. But the only challenge with milestone is if you land on clients who are micromanagers, instead of demanding 100%, they will demand 500% quality without even adhering to the agreed terms. In such cases, they might even withhold payment as leverage for unrealistic demands. And these challenges can affect you here and there as a client, as a freelancer and so forth. By requesting payment upfront, sometimes you also establish trust and protect yourself. The only way you can protect yourself also comes down to the issue of what you call the agreement you sign between yourself and the client. Therefore, those are the two aspects I can mention to you that you can be able to go into what you call the exciting work of contracting, or you may call it freelancing, or you may call it those things that may allow for you to see that you're growing in that world. I hope we're together. And in any case, if we are, I'll move on. Now, when you talk about the aspect of contracts, most times, because you're young in the industry, you fear to ask for a contract to the client. Yes, I don't know. I can start on paying me more. Like, as long as you give me the job, I'm okay. But nothing protects you, the client. There's nothing binding. Now, let me tell you something. If you're going to do any work with anybody, especially delivering to any task, always ask for what you call a contract. In any case, don't make it even too complicated. Complicated in essence that even if they can't draw the contracts, you can draw the contracts. You know, you can draw the contracts, number one, by even getting online contract templates that you can use. Now, when entering to any client collaboration, regardless of the project size or duration, having a contract in place is crucial. I know some of you are asking, but how do I get into freelancing? How do I do this? We're going to get to that part. Let me first address the core, the money part, which is most times why you're in it. So regardless of the project size, always make sure that you have a contractual understanding. Why do I say so? These contracts can work for you twofold. One, it protects you against the client in case there is any change of terms. Two, it also works for you. Tomorrow you may apply for another job, or you may be seeking another contractual understanding between you and another entity. Guess what they're going to ask for? What is your experience? Experience cannot be defined by only that. You can sometimes even scan some of those contracts and attach them. So that's an exact point I would like you to be able to come into. Now, the contracts serve as a formal agreement that outline expectations, responsibilities, and payment terms. I repeat, these contracts should also be able to reflect your payment terms, your responsibilities, and expectations, you know? And as well as the payment terms, like I've said. It acts as a safety net, either for you or the client. Even if you're going to do a logo for somebody, even if you're going to market someone's work for the next 1 week, ask, can we have a contractual understanding? That's why sometimes you work with somebody, no, they never paid me, there's no what. No, come into a contractual understanding. You're not asking the contract because there's any trust issues. No, it's just a formal way of working. I hope that's quite clear for all of us. Then most important, like I said, and I'll re-echo this because I found it in my line of engagement. These contracts, you may need them someday when you're working on another project. They'll ask you, do you have any existing contracts? You realize that you did work, but you don't have any contracts. So, from any misunderstandings or disputes this may arise during the project, this contract will work well for you. Include specific details in a contract, such as the contract period, working hour, working conditions, the scope of project. For instance, clearly state whether the content you're creating, like I'll use Noel as an example. You talked about as a digital marketer, if I understood it correctly. State clearly whether the content you create is solely for social media, or if it includes the rights for running ads, maybe on mainstream. This is clear for you at the end of the day. Now, this ensures that both parties are on the same page regarding the usage and compensation terms. I was listening to someone recently said, there are boys who developed mobile money from Makerere. Those are stories. I don't know if it's true. When they developed it, now you see MTN came and bought them, and they don't have any rights. But it's about how you sign the contracts and what contractual terms you sign down to. We avoid using lawyers here, but I will advise you to engage using them. And as a tip I can give just from what I've just said is that find general contract templates online, or obtain a free legal consultation at any of the business centers. You can see places like, for example, Outbox or Innovation Village. For those, I saw someone mention they're from MOOBs. You can go to the MOOBs Incubation Center, seek support, and make sure you customize them to suit your work. Now, that alone can work for you. And now, besides the aspect of payment, is a very big point that we all struggle with, and most times people get thrown out from this particular point. And guess what it is? Successful managing the client collaboration. You realize that sometimes you acquire clients, but you can't maintain the relationships. Or you don't have a thriving relationship with for your clients or with your clients. Most times you realize you have a client for 2, 3, 4 months, the client has gone. He's another person. But make sure that you show professionalism when you're working with your clients. It could be your brother, it could be your sister, but do your best to make sure you show professionalism. Now, successful managing client relationship or client relationship is key to building long-term relationships. And a thriving freelancer or consultancy career or self-employment career is so important when you keep relationships. One of the things that is my expertise that I've learned for the longest times is partnership acquisition and partnership maintenance. Maintenance, because you get to understand what do clients want, what do they sign down to, and don't be afraid to renegotiate terms if you feel you sign down to something wrong. Now, by implementing these aspects we talked about, that I've discussed already with you, you can confidently navigate the world of client collaboration. Remember, successful freelancing or consultation is not about the work you deliver, but also about how you manage the client relationship, payments, and contracts. By adhering by these rules, you'll be able to position yourself as a reliable professional freelancer, consultant, or call yourself as a person who is a self-employed person, and which allows you to set yourself up for a long-term success in this industry we're talking about. Now, sometimes you can ask yourself, how do I actually reach a point, or what are the strategies I can use to be competitive as a freelancer, as a consultant, and as a self-employed person. Number one, always define your niche. If you're going to be anyone who is doing something, define your niche as long as you're doing something. One of the first steps to becoming a successful person in that industry is to identify that you do best and focus on it. Sometimes you're too many. You're the guy who polishes shoes. You're also the accountant. You're a cook somewhere. You're a driver. You're the guy who does digital marketing. You're the guy who you're too many things that it takes someone time to really understand what exactly do you do as a business. Therefore, it's important that you define your niche and what your focus is on as a business. This means including the specific areas of expertise, industry that you're passionate about, that you have a track record of delivery. Today, I can refer to Mr. Andrew Tugume here because I know his track record when it comes to youth scaling, when it comes to anything to do IT scaling, when it comes to software, when it comes to people engagement. That is him, because he has done it for years and he has defined his niche. Now, by defining your niche, you can also showcase your unique value proposition, attract more relevant clientele, or you can also charge higher rates for specialized skills and knowledge. I used Herbert as an example. Herbert, if I remember well, he went to school and studied, I think, anything to do with IT, if I remember well. But today, if you go to Herbert under his workmanship, he will let you know that I don't do any logo below $300. No, $300, I don't do it. Because you'll tell me I don't do logos anymore. I do a whole brand identity. I give you that visual representation, because there's a whole way he redefines it. Now, whereas for you may call it a logo, or I do logos, I do what? No, the man calls it now. He does the same work you do, but he gives you a whole feel of it in another way. And that's why I realize that someone quickly pulls that amount of money versus you who thought otherwise. So I hope that is very clear. Number two is keep learning and adding to your skill or your skill set. And for those who might have just still joined, we're talking about what are the strategies you can use to be competitive as a freelancer, as a consultant, or even still you can call yourself as a self-employed person. Keep learning and honing your skills. Now, the market is very competitive and it's always changing every single day. If people are evolving with what they want, and therefore you should be evolving with what solutions you're providing. Now, with new methods, tools, and trends emerging every day, you need to stay competitive. You need to keep learning and updating your skills. It's like someone who operates a restaurant. How can you keep updating your menu every day? Because people are going to be coming to your restaurant eating the same food every day. Whereas they might like the chicken, but think of new recipes. Think of another way. Let them feel there's something new for them. So you need to keep learning and updating your skills, both in terms of technical skills and soft skills. If you're talking about digital marketing as a person still, how are you actually making sure you're adding those skills? How are you making sure that you are actually honing it, growing it, that there's nobody except you that is good at an industry? or in that industry. You know, you realize that people read books. They read those books not just because they just want to read books. In any case, maybe books are so boring to read, but they read them because they have to hone their skills. So you can do this by taking on online courses, reading blogs, books like I've already mentioned, attending webinars like sessions we're having right now, and joining professional associations and networks, and seeking feedback from your clients. This is another key point before I forget. Always seek feedback from your clients. If anything, come up with a feedback form that allows for you to ask your clients, what is your feedback? How am I performing? Don't work on assumptions that you're doing well. No, let the client let you know you're doing well or you're terrible. And then don't be afraid to ask that, because it helps you to improve at the end of the day to make sure you're better. Now, by keeping your skills sharp and current, you can offer more value to your clients and differentiate yourself from another person. Because sometimes someone thinks, what's the difference between you and another person? So that's the aspect of what we're talking about. The third point under how we can be able to build strategies, strategies we can use to keep ourselves competitive in the market. Number one is to build a strong portfolio and reputation. Portfolio comes from making sure that you showcase your work and achievements. The question is, when you're charging a client $1,000, $2,000, what are your achievements? What achievements do you have? What is that you can tell a client that makes a client feel like, yes, I have to pay this man this money. This man deserves this money. Because there's no achievement you've written down there. But the question is, where do the achievements come from? The achievements come down from the aspect of making sure you keep record of your contracts, you keep record of the work you've done with them. And this means also making sure you build a strong portfolio, be it online, wherever. We'll get to the online side of it later on. So you can do this by creating, maybe say, a professional. Just 1 second. Someone is saying, Newton, increase your value by creating. Okay, and it's under typing down. So I was just mentioning that you can do this by creating a professional website, a blog, a social media profile that displays your previous projects, testimonies, awards, and publications. Most of you are social media platforms, but you use it just for what? What do you use it nowadays? Shufra, the new song now, the new trend. That's what you're going to be posting there every day, which is okay. If your clients like the Shufra song, that's okay. But if it works, it's okay. But remember, that client is not going to be paying you for that. Client wants to pay you for what your achievements are. So if Ozambe does not pay your bills, use your social media not for just Ozambe. Ozambe can come once in a while. But post what your client wants to hear. Let them feel like you're the client, you're the person they need. You understand? So that social media platform, that blog, that website you're having, build it up. Make someone know that you are the guy. You are the guy they can refer to. There's no better person than you in that place. I'll use another person as an example. There's this lady recently called Mama D who does the cooking cookathon, Mama D got very famous on the social media platforms. She has made herself like the person who knows how to cook better than anyone else. But guess what? She has earned it. Today, there's a Mama D. Either she wins the Guinness record or not, there's a Mama D that is good for cooking. If Mama D came knocking at your door today and said, look, man, I want to make sure that I am, I'm the chef at your business. Won't you take Mama D on? You will take on. I'm seeing hundreds of people's comments there, but I'll get to them. Now, you can also use platforms like, Upwork, Fiverr, or Freelancer to showcase your ratings, reviews. That's if you notice, for example, for those who are in the hospitality industry, like hotels, people do one thing. They make sure that you get those ratings by your clients, because that's what people are going to use to make sure that they know you're valuable. And if you just get fake ratings, guess what happens? I think the client will find out. Okay, you may get people like your friends to give you all those likes and give you what, but try to balance it. Don't overdo it also on one-sided. Make sure that there's a balance between actually genuinely you doing the work and also your clients seeing what is coming out. And another point that is within the same point that I mentioned is completed projects. Most of us start projects we don't even finish. Can we actually work towards finishing projects at the end of the day? at the end of the day. You know, when you finish projects, those are what we call success stories, like I said. So by building on a strong portfolio and reputation, you can increase your visibility, credibility, and trustworthiness in the market. Even if it's a stop here, let me now tell you something about the aspect of trustworthiness and reputation. People don't want to deal with anyone when there's no reputation, especially when they want to look at international relations or cross-border transactions or transactions that are even beyond just your district. Foremost, I don't know you. You've never met me, but we're just met on a digital platform. The question is, how do you keep your reputation? How do you protect your integrity? How can you be trustworthy? How does the client know that I've paid you, that I can be sure that you're going to deliver? You understand? So the only way you can get to know that is by making sure that you keep integrity. If a client says you have to deliver this work in the next 1 week, deliver it within 1 week. If you can even deliver it less than a week, the better. In the event, I repeat, in the event you feel you can never deliver the work within a week, reach out to the client, make them know that, look, I've been caught up and I can't be able to deliver this work within a week. Let it not even become a habit. This week, you're the guy who couldn't deliver. Next week, you're the guy who couldn't deliver. That's how they get kicked off from the market and they don't want your services anymore. I hope we're all on the same page. And but I'll respond to the same thing, that increase your visibility by creating a strong online portfolio. Let people know you for what you do, and make sure that they understand you. You know, 100 people. Who of your 100 people can actually say they know what you do? You understand? Some of us, even our own family members, don't even know what we do. You wake up in the morning, they don't know. So how do you expect someone who is, let's say, across the border to know what you do? Make sure you market yourself for that. But marketing that comes down from the aspect of having a focus, having clarity to what you do, and making sure people know you for that one thing very well. Even if you go to the second phase, the third phase, they will know you for that. There's an aspect of it. There's a gentleman called Daniel Chaudhry. Those of you know Daniel Chaudhry, you'll know him for marketing and sales. That's what he has done. He has done it for years. You understand? So people will know you for that, and they'll get to understand you for what exactly you do. So trustworthiness comes from keeping your word, most importantly to yourself. And I keep telling people, before you keep your word to another person, keep it to yourself first. And that's how you grow. And that's how you're able to grow and people get to know that you can keep your word. This man, now I speak for him. I'll give myself as an example. Our partners I deal with in the US and the UK markets. So some of these individuals who have come to Uganda a few times, some have met other places. But what happens is that for as long as my name is put on something, I'll do my part. If anything, I want to go over and above. Like, you keep your word, especially where money is involved. Try to keep your name. Build your name when the money is involved. So that's why I started the issue of money, because I didn't know we're not here to, say, hey, we're voting a government. No, we're here to say let's make money as contractors, as freelancers, as business individuals. But as a business owner, what reputation does your business have? I know businesses that I've been part of where partners didn't keep their reputation. Guess what? They lost reputation badly. And if you go today, they can't even open the doors for them. The reason why today someone like maybe Andrew may call me, I don't want to assume, is probably because he thinks I have the reputation. So let's go to point number 4, which is communicate effectively and proactively. Communicate effectively and proactively. Now, communication is essential for any business you do, be it as a contractor, as a freelancer, or even if you're doing it as a business owner. Your employees must have clarity in what you're communicating. Your people you're delivering your contracts to must have clarity to that. As it affects your relationship with your clients, your understanding of their needs and expectations. You see, recently, maybe Luke and Eunice know, we lost a good contract of about almost $3 million somewhere because the relationship between myself and the clients was different. But then the other people did not set clear expectations and an understanding. As a result, a matter that could have been well resolved became a matter of, ego and what have you. That's how we lost it. Why am I telling you? Communicate effectively and proactively. Never assume that you know. Never assume on behalf of your client. Never. You're not your client. Don't assume for your client. You can think but always try to run things through them. You understand? So to communicate effectively and proactively, you need to establish a clear and regular communication channels with your people. If you have employees, communicate with them clearly. If you have partners across the border, communicate with them effectively and clearly and more often. You know, the more you don't communicate, the communication dies out. It's like a plant. When a plant is growing, when you don't water it, guess what happens? It's gonna dry out. So your role is to make sure you communicate more often and regularly and use clear channels. Sometimes when I ask your client, how do you prefer to communicate? Do you prefer WhatsApp? Do you prefer email? Do you prefer LinkedIn? Like, what do you prefer? Get to know what a client's preference is. You know, someone tells me I use WhatsApp. But if you don't use WhatsApp, I don't want to know. But remember, you're not the client. So your role is to make sure you establish that aspect. Get to know, what does the client want? What do they use effectively? And in any case, if you need to drag the client's attention from using WhatsApp to email, you say, oh, by the way, I don't mind, let's use WhatsApp. But maybe on some occasions, do you mind if we use email? Like, bring it as a suggestion. That way it will work for you. And then most importantly, use very simple and concise language. Ask relevant questions and clarify questions. Most of us fear to ask questions. We get afraid to ask. We think asking is a crime. But if you don't, they say if you never ask, it's never right. So, but when you get to ask, you get to know that it's right or not, you qualify it. So provide updates and feedback and handle issues, complaints professionally. If there's an issue arising, call for a meeting if necessary. You know, and I'm not saying that you should be running to your client 24/7. No, there are things you can solve as a leader. But most important, I'm saying communicate effectively, build that trust with them. Trust is built over time. Don't say, man, I did so well today. What about tomorrow? What about the next 1 hour? So build it over time. By communicating effectively and proactively, you can enhance your client satisfaction, retention, and referrals. I repeat, by actually making sure that you communicate effectively and proactively. Those are two different words. Communicating effectively is one thing, and proactively is another thing. When you communicate proactively, it means you're involved in it. And then communicating effectively could just mean that you're communicating as per the structure you've agreed to. When you do so, like, you'll be able to build a relationship and make them feel satisfied. And you ask yourself, someone that's like, man, I've been with this client for 5 years, but the question is how? If anything, evaluate your contract, depending how long your contract is. If your contract is for 1 year, make sure every quarter you sit down and evaluate it. If the contract is just for 3 months, make sure that every fortnight or every month you sit down and evaluate how you're all growing. The fifth point, in the interest of time, is manage your time and resources wisely. As an entrepreneur, as an owner of a business, as a freelancer, as a contractor, as a CEO, as somebody you prefer to call yourself, you have to manage your time and resources wisely. As they affect your productivity, your quality, and profitability. Now, I say profitability, you realize someone is actually always having contracts, but there's no profitability. The business you do is at the same stage every year, every minute. You're the same guy they saw yesterday, today, in the same shirt. My friend, be profitable. How do you plan your resources? Hire an accountant who works with you. You may not have an accountant who you pay monthly, but just tell a guy, you know what? I have a 6 months project that's paying me, let me say, 5 million. But in this 5 million, now I'm going to give you 400,000. I'll give that 400 as an example. In this 400K, your role is to advise me on my finances. How do I manage this money? You're the owner of the money. Of course, you have needs, you have rent, you have what? You need to think it. But at the end of the day, you can pay your rent, then what? You buy the shirt, then what? So deal with someone who understands finances very well, so that you can be able to do that. So therefore, to manage your time and resources wisely, you need to set realistic and achievable goals. Prioritize your tasks, use tools and softwares. And guess what? Today, work has become so easy. Instead of starting from scratch, a lot of work has been automated. Don't always submit automated work, but use tools that can make your work easier. Then, how do you enhance it? How do you improve what the tools have done for you? Streamline your work and outsource, or delegate some of the tasks. Track your expenses and income as a person. Where am I spending my money? and why am I actually making recoverables, and how am I really recovering money? How am I really? How much do I owe people out there? How much do I actually make sure that I put aside for the business growth? And also make sure that you balance your personal life and your work. By managing your time and resources wisely, you can optimize your performance efficiently and well-being. For example, if your client tells you your meeting is at 2 p.m. and you join at 2:15, you've already failed. If your client says the meeting is at 2, make sure you're even there at about 1:50 or 1:45, because you don't know what's going to happen. Try. Value that client, let the client make sure they are the most valuable person. That's what if you go to a place like Java's will make you feel like you're the most important client. You know, they'll make sure that if you've ordered food right now, in the next few minutes, your food is ready. So manage your time and resources wisely. It helps us to grow. Unfortunately, as young people, we live at a time where our resources we don't have so much available people to guide us available in such kind of spaces. I'm going to push through plan with Andrew through Alphaton. Maybe we'll discuss. I can't promise it, but maybe I'm going to come up with an arrangement where we have a legal and an accounting firm that can support individuals like you. So I'm not promising it, but Andrew, we can work out something. We can get a law firm and an accounting firm that can support individuals like just to consult, you know. So Andrew, maybe we can discuss that later to see how that works. We can get 1 or 2 firms here and there. Now, when it comes to that aspect, there's the other than time management and resource management is what we call network and collaborate with others. Either you're an introvert, your profits don't know if you're an introvert, my friend. Money doesn't know if you're an introvert. Clients will want to understand you at a personal level, but they want to know that you can network. Your business doesn't know if you're an introvert, or your freelancing role you've taken does not know if you're an introvert. If you're an introvert, find a way to communicate it with other tools or how people will speak for you. So therefore, in this aspect of networking, one of the best strategies to stay competitive as a freelancer, as an employer, or as a business or contractor, is to network and collaborate with others in the industry. Like right now, we're here. Get to know who is on the platform. Let people get to know who you are. This means connecting with others or other clients and experts or mentors or influencers who can offer you support. Support is not always money. You know, sometimes we think, oh man, guys offered me support, money. It could be the technical advice they give you or support they can give you. So who can offer you the support, advice, opportunities, and referrals? It matters. Can someone refer your name somewhere? The question is, what do they do to refer your name? Find where you can connect to people, network with people. Look for forums, look for groups, attend them. You know, sometimes I'm on Twitter, I want to join spaces, and let me join this Twitter space. Then you realize they say vibes on vibes. I'm like, no, vibes on vibes. I don't know what I'm going to get here. Yeah? But I'll join for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we'll jump off. Because you also know what works for you. Vibes on vibes is good, but my dear, I don't know how far it's going to work for me. But you join what you think might work to an extent here and there to make sure that you're growing at the end of the day. So by networking and collaborating with others, you can expand your knowledge and exposure and network. Exposure is key. Exposure comes from relating with other people's viewpoints so that you can all grow. I hope all together, though. Thank you. Now, one of the questions that Andrew raised, and I'm going to respond here. They said, what are effective strategies for building cross-border relations with clients and partners? You know, what are the most effective ways to build cross-border relations and partners? I'll tell you, one of the things that has kept me today in my business is cross-border relations and partnerships. That have helped me open partnerships over businesses. Recently, for the security company, I think Eunice can attest. We've got people who wanted to give us money, but they couldn't give us money. But someone comes and says, oh, a security company is one of the largest here in Boston, Massachusetts. We don't have so much, but we want to partner with you. Let me tell you something. In a partnership, does not mean that guy is going to give you money. No. It means that there's a room for you to say, this guy is my partner. It's a Gamba Nogu. Like, I know this company, I can call them. Today, they can offer me a service if I require them to offer it. But why would a company trust you? It comes from what we discussed earlier. So what are the most effective strategies for building cross-border relationships and client partners? Now, let's start by understanding what are cross-border engagements. Because you may have a business here, a corporation, a business, or a brand you want to build. I think my understanding is it's more or less of a form of international cooperation, and the main purpose of which is to remove restrictions arising from its existence national borders. You may realize that you're dealing with people who are in the UK, but you don't have a UK visa, you can't go there, But can you actually work with them beyond the border point, internationally relating with them, So this aspect embraces a wide range of international activities of governments and activities of local authorities. So, number one, for you to be able to work with people, I'll use an example. I'll use the group I have in the UK. Almost understand the context. The context, before you start working with a new client or partner across the border, do some research, background research on them. What are their values? What are the expectations? What are the communication styles? This will help you tailor your approach and avoid cultural cues and shock. One of the things I've dealt with, and maybe Mr. Tugume can attest to, or some of you have dealt with people, you realize that there's a cultural shock that comes. This guy doesn't understand me. And also the guy thinks that you don't understand him. But you realize at the end of the day, you all mean well for each other. But what makes you feel like you don't know each other, or what makes you feel like he doesn't know you, or you don't know each other? You understand? So it comes down to the aspect of you, number one, doing your research right. What are their thinking patterns? How do they want to communicate? You realize the client likes communicating in the mornings. You realize the client, their communication, they'll communicate today, they don't like too many texts. You send text message, they don't respond, but they'll make sure that they'll respond the following week because you had agreed to meet the following week. Understand them. So you might want to know if they prefer formal or informal greetings. You may realize that I was in Denmark. I was referring to some people as sir. Man, I realized that someone just gives you an eye and you're like, what's going on? Because they don't prefer that as a form of greeting them. The guy gives you like, what sir? Why do you call me sir? They prefer to be called by their names, but it's because I had not done my research right. And now, because I've come from Uganda, where when they call you sir, you're a big man. For them, they don't see it. They prefer to keep it low key at the lowest level possible. So do your research. How do they prefer to be greeted, and how they handle, how they also handle feedback. I'll speak it here. I was dealing with a group again in Rwanda. What I got to realize is that because of the effect of the war, of the genocide rather, some of the people they were talking about are very aggressive. The guy will come and be very aggressive. You may think he's being arrogant, but that's him naturally. You understand? So by understanding them, how do they communicate is so important. So you realize that the war affected them, that they have zero tolerance, but at the same time, that's the only way they can defend themselves and protect themselves. So get to understand them at that level. So you can ask them directly about their preferences, expectations, and share yours as well. Don't just get to understand someone's preferences and if you don't share yours. No. On the call, I've seen a very good friend, Ram Haji. Happy to see you. He's a big brother of ours. Ram, I recognize your presence. Thanks for joining the call. And Ram has done a lot of work, so it's good to appreciate and recognize you. So therefore, understand the context of your client and make sure that your client, you understand them to the depth. So I mentioned an aspect earlier, but I'm mentioning this aspect again when it comes to how effectively or what strategies you can use to communicate effectively when you're building cross-border relationships or partnerships. Communicate clearly and frequently. Communication is key for any relationship, be it intimate. Some of you who may be in a relationship here right now, you have a boyfriend, you have not texted since morning. Please text them right now, even on the call. Communicate effectively. Those of your girlfriend, text them, tell them. You understand? Communication goes a long way. In business, it works. In personal ways, it works. If you don't express yourself, no one will know. You understand? So communication is key for any relationship, for business, for freelancing, for contracts, name it all. But specifically for cross-border ones. Why? You're dealing with a guy who is across the border. He may take 6 months before he sees you. He may take a month or two, or depending on the structure of their business or the business you have with them. So you need to communicate clearly and frequently to establish trust and rapport. Rapport comes from knowing you that I know you've got my back. I know you won't mess me up. You understand? That's why sometimes some of you may have engagements with clients. A client looks short of some documents because there's no rapport. You understand? So build that rapport, build that trust with them, and use simple and direct language. Avoid jargons and slangs, you know, and check for use ways to make sure there's an understanding. I don't know if you to call, ask them, are we on the same page? If it's a yes, make sure. And if you've had a phone call or an email, a Zoom call, send an email immediately and say, hey, guys, I thank you very much for the email today. For the call earlier today. Here's a summary of what we discussed. That shows effective communication and you're communicating with clarity. If today you had a call with your client, let me say in Botswana, and you had a very, very good phone call, what is the record of the phone call? You're dealing with a client across the world. He doesn't know. He may not even remember tomorrow. Send an email thereafter. If you're not using email, you're using WhatsApp, send a WhatsApp chat. Say, hey, thank you for the call earlier, but this is what we agreed to. Thank you. Keep it there because it will be useful. So be mindful of the time difference. Sometimes I've had to pay the price, especially with the guys in the US. The times I'm up until 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You understand? So be mindful of time differences and respect the working hours and holidays of your of your counterparts. You realize that the countries where public holidays, you don't even mess, you don't come in between. Whereas you're too hungry for success, for your public holiday or school. You understand? Like you hit it there and then. But the guys, their public holidays are public holiday. They don't want to know. So get to understand them and don't forget to express appreciation and recognition for their work and contributions. So in communicating effectively, let someone know that you're grateful for their contribution. Let them know that you're happy for whatever they have contributed towards your growth. Even giving you a contract, my friend. Don't be too proud. Send them an email or even a call, a text. Say, hey, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for me. So I hope we're all on the same page because you're dealing with cross-cultural issues now here. Culture can be a whole issue. Number 3 of a point we're talking about here is now working across cross-border means working with different styles of thinking, working and solving problems. You need to be very, very, I repeat, very flexible and adaptable to accommodate these differences and find common ground. For example, you may encounter different levels of hierarchy, decision-making, risk-taking, and conflict resolution. I gave an example of a business we're doing recently in Rwanda. Both teams from the US and the Rwanda, they have different approaches when it comes to how to solve conflicts. Now, me here, I'm thinking, but you guys are wasting too much time here. Let's get to the point. You understand? But I don't need to be so intrusive and offensive. What did I have to do? Take a step back. Because I'm not the main guy investing the money. I'm only managing the relationship, but I can advise both parties. This is what I will propose. This is what I propose. But it's up to them to now say, this works or this doesn't work for them. So you need to respect the differences and adapt your style accordingly. For instance, you may need to be more direct or indirect. Read your audience very well. More assertive or diplomatic. Adapt both ways. You can be diplomatic or very assertive, as some of you call it, being a realist. And more structured or creative, depending on the situation and the person. As I said, do your research on the person. Do they love structures? If they don't love structures, how do you do it? You may realize that the client may find it too structured. They don't like it. Andrew, you remember back in the days, we used to do some projects back with some partners. For them, they didn't like structures. The guy wants to make sure that 2 a.m. you're all in the office together. At 4 a.m. you're there. Saturday you're there. They didn't like suits. Don't come in your suit. No. Even if you're wearing a short, you're wearing what, for them, they don't have a problem. They just want to make sure work is delivered. You understand? So getting to know the difference matters a lot. Fourth of it all is what we call leverage on diversity. Working with people from across the border and different backgrounds and perspectives can be a source of innovation and creativity. You can leverage on this diversity by seeking their input, feedback and ideas from the cross-border clients and partners. You realize that if you're a startup here, what a startup is in the UK, for example, is different. If you saw someone is a startup, as a startup is a business that just has an idea, they're starting. No, for them that are said, the definition of a startup is totally different. You understand? How we raise money here is totally different. How they raise money is different for your startup. So how do you make sure you understand that and ask the relevant questions? So you can learn from their best practices, experiences, and insights. By doing so, you can create value for both parties, yourself and them, that fosters a collaborative culture. Culture is a big deal. And always understand, if you're dealing with English people, the UK people, these are the authors of bureaucracy. They're going to be bureaucratic about every situation. You tell the guy, let's start a software. He's not going to think of, let's just innovate a software that does this and that. No, they want to think about a client. They want to think about who's going to buy it. They'll think about the value chain, like whole 360. Whereas you may want to be starting today, for them, they'll tell you, no, let's start in January next year. So understanding that cultural diversity is so important because it allows you to minimize conflicts. So you can, and it has taken me time to adjust to that because I used to get angry at some clients. I'm like, well, why do you need to start in January yet we can start right now? But because that's how they envision it. But now what you can be careful about here is that if it's you who has the money and you don't give them the biggest input, start. But if it's them, my friend, you have to understand and adjust accordingly. But also give them your viewpoint where you think you need to start now, respectfully. So you can also celebrate the diversity by acknowledging and appreciating the differences and similarities among your cross-border team members. You understand? Can you make a difference? Can you make sure they get to prove that you're worthy? Our partners who fly in and out, they come into the country, do business with them, they go back. Well, it has taken time. But I've also come to understand their culture. Their culture is they're not like me who will get a flight today. Even we see as we speak right now, if there's a meeting that requires me to fly tonight, I'll be on them. As long as there's nothing too important, I'll be there. But the guy will be like, man, I need my free time. So that's very important. Lastly, but not the least, under the aspect of what we're talking about, what effective strategies for building cross-border relationships with clients and partners. Build rapport. Building rapport is essential for any relationship, but it can be more challenging when you work across borders. You need to invest time and effort to get to know your clients and partners as individuals. You realize that sometimes some clients may be interested in working with you because they work with you as an individual. Because they know you at an individual level. So build rapport with them. Don't stop at the work side. Get to know the guy. Ask him, how was your day? How's your family? How are things coming through? How's this week for you? Let them feel this genuine interest in getting to know them. By saying so, that rapport builds over time because they'll feel free with you, and the more free they are, they will relate with you. So get to know your clients and individuals, just not at the professional level, but even at the personal level. So when I also say at the personal level, Bambi, I'm not saying just jump in 100%. Recently, we had some clients from the US who checked in an apartment, and this lady who I had hired as a PA for them, one of the days, I don't know what came in her mind. Boom, she was in the apartment working from there. Because these guys are free, they may not talk. They were getting very uncomfortable until I had to let this lady know, I'm like, my friend, this guy is actually getting uncomfortable with you. They're not saying it, but let me tell you, they're uncomfortable. You understand? So don't take also their rapport for that free willingness for a ride. Just get to know your place, but be open with them to know each other. Now you can also share some of your own stories and experiences. By this I mean people buy stories. Always have a story you sell. People, especially across border, they realize there's so many creatives, for example. But what's your creative? For example, you're doing the work you're doing because there's youth unemployment. You're the only or the first one in your family who is providing such a service. Maybe you're the one who graduated the first in university, or there's a story behind you. What is your story? Be truthful to your story. Be authentic about your story and love your story. And also, use some humor and empathy. You know, some of you are too serious. That a clients who joke a lot find you too serious. The guy like, ah, no, I don't like this guy. Man. I want the guy who can also go and sit out with me for a drink. So use some humor and make sure that there's sense of humor in you and empathy. And compliments are important. You know, wake up in the morning and just say, man, hey, my friend, Batariganya, I like your jacket. That jean jacket looks good on you. You never know, the client feels good thereafter. You understand? So use that as an aspect. And you can also look into opportunities to meet face to face. Now, when I talk about meeting face to face, after doing your work with a client for months and maybe a year plus, tell them, look, I'll be interested in visiting your country one day. Bring it as a point, because most people don't want to host you because they'll be like, what if this guy comes and, ooh, Ozambe, the guy is gone. You don't know where he has gone. We know where he has come from. Like you've hosted a guy in the country and the guy has disappeared. So clients don't want to take that risk at any time, T. Make it a point that you build a relationship. Tell them, look, I want to come to your country one of these days. How can I visit your country? What does it cost to visit your country? Oh, invest in tickets, my friend. All this white party or whatever party are all good. How much is a ticket? Buy a ticket. Get a visa. Get away. Travel across the border. Get to know what they do. What is it? Because sometimes I travel, I get to realize, hey, this guy doesn't give you time because he has to catch a train. He literally has to run every day. Here, border, any 24/7. So get to understand that perspective as build rapport. So as we come to conclusion, what are the benefits of a cross-border relationship? You know, we'll start by understanding that the benefits of cross-border, you know, include making sure that there's market expansion, as already I've illustrated in my explanations earlier, and each additional side of it, you know, can increase your sales, your visibility, or position you or position your brand very largely. So you may realize that your brand may go from China to Latin America to even here, go to Arua, wherever, you know, by a big percentage, but potentially for less competition, especially for unique brands and products. So these are the advantages of why cross-border business is so important today. One, it offers, firstly, it allows for joint tackling of challenges and issues. Because now you're dealing with a person from another background, you're going to tackle your issues jointly and as a collective. You understand? Leading to mutually beneficial and common development. Especially if, let's say, I'll use, for example, let's say Safe Border. If you talk to Mr. Ricky Rapper of Safe Border, he will tell you that, oh, some of their people are not from Uganda. No, they're from the US, they're from the world, from other parts of the world, India. It gives them that visibility. Now, some of the people they deal with, partners who fund them, who do what? They are people who come from other parts of the world. They set a bar for you because you want to develop a product that is locally accepted, but not just for the local market, that can be marketed globally. So therefore, cross-border partnerships or businesses, or call it engagements, will allow for you to tackle these issues collaboratively. Secondly, it promotes regional capabilities and can enhance local economics through foreign direct investment. Now, Mr. Tugume, Ram, you are among the people who can save in units. You know how many some startups have been able to attract funds from other parts of the world today. When you attract a fund that comes into Uganda, that's already a foreign direct investment. A foreign direct investment is funds that come from another country to your country. So that's one of the beauties that comes with foreign direct investments. Thirdly, it fosters greater competition, more efficient markets, and broader access to capital. I'll give an example. If you're dealing with the US market, the US market has a lot of access to capital. Let's talk about Boston. Boston is like a global hub. It has access to money altogether. It has access to money that if you look through today, you realize that Boston is known for education. It's known for healthcare. That's why the likes of Harvard and Wharton are all there. Now, you look at the MITs that are very, very, very well known for global IT solutions. And there's also a lot of a lot of venture capital fund from a country like, I mean, from a place like Boston. So therefore, this allows for you to have access to broader capital. It allows for you to have access to partners who may grow with you mutually for the best of your business. It allows you people to position a business not as a local product, but as international product. Today, the security company we run, which Eunice knows very well of, that we are partners both in the UK and in the US market and in the Rwandan market, which means I can gladly tell you that we have offices in Rwanda, we have offices in the US, we have offices in the UK, in the UK and the US, I mean. But does it mean I physically paid rent? No, I didn't have to pay rent. I just had to come into an understanding with them that you can offer the same service I offer, and I can offer the same services I offer. So that's an important aspect. Now, when I talked about aspect of broader competition, you reach a point that you can't compete in a small market. Some of you are too used to competing within the same market. It's good to compete your market locally here, but make sure that you grow beyond your local market so that people can understand it and embrace you better. Lastly, it supports economic and social development and promotes, of course, values that strengthen the neighborhood, which is now international relations with states across the world. When you do what you do, you get to realize that when you go there, you also go as an individual who is well received by some of these by some of these individuals across the countries, and they receive you genuinely, that you become one of the best they can ever count on. Today's a Friday. There could be a bang for some of you somewhere. We're winding it up in less than 5 minutes, and I'll be done. So you can do these things by number one, but you can all achieve this. How do you get to meet these people? How do you get to know a client who is coming from China, Hong Kong, from India, from Russia, from the US, from the UK? How do you make sure they know you? How do you make sure that they can connect with you? I already said it, but I want to end my session by saying that, one, use your online platforms very well. I'll use that again. They will get to know you. They'll get to know you better. And people from foreign countries, one key thing is say, oh, let me say, for example, you're called Haggai Katson. Haggai, Haggai, I think I know you. Haggai, you're a brother to Hudson Horace, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're not mistaken, sir. You're not mistaken.
All right, thank you. So, because that's why I knew him, we did a business with him where he was supporting us in Tanzania at one point. So, I'm just using you now as an example. How do you get to know more about Haggai from another country? It starts by making sure that Haggai's profile online is so important. Guys, don't underestimate it. Today, when you talk about Haggai, someone wants to go online and check who is Haggai. What does he do? How does he do what he does? You understand? So you get to realize that's how people relate with you. Some of the guys who give us supplies for the security company are from China. I've never met them. I've never met them physically. But they've gone ahead to do their own research about me, and they'll be like, oh, you guys are reputable. I'm happy to work with you. So there are many options, such as, like I said, Fiverr, Freelancer, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter today. We can use them, but you can create a profile showcasing your work, and also make sure that you bid for projects that match your skill set and interest. And you can also use this platform to communicate with clients, manage your workflow. There was a time I posted on Twitter, I'm looking for animators. I got more than 50 people coming on to say, I do animations, not from Uganda, no, all over, from other parts of the world. So how does it come? Someone check my profile, they do that. And also, I said it, and I'll conclude by saying, don't undermine the aspect of networking with local communities. So network with people, show them your skills, and make them get to know how you can join them. Some of you who have joined the Freelancers Business Accelerator, please, this is a platform for you. Embrace it. I don't know what the terms are within you and them, but enjoy, join such platforms, because it adds value to your career. After today's session, you can go and have a blast or whatever you want. But the question at the end of the day is, how are you networking with these communities? And you can attend events, make sure that they get to know you better, introduce yourself, share your expertise, Have a pitch deck ready of who you are and what you do. And most importantly, please, you need to be respectful, professional, and culturally sensitive. Because you may go to an environment where people are vegetarians and for you asking for that meat. So trouble comes your way from such a way. So if you go to an environment, you read the environment, it's of guys who are vegetarians, Bambi, just so say you're the best vegetarian, accept it that minute. Because you'll eat your meat later. Just make sure that you're culturally sensitive with them. I mean, I'll use Andrew as Andrew, you know Grant Thornton. Grant Thornton, one of the partners is called Anil Patel. We happen to have done some work someday. He took me for lunch. And I got to realize the man was only ordering for vegetarian food. And I told him, meat, I don't eat meat nowadays. I'm a vegetarian, I enjoy it. Because I had to get along with the brother very well. Because how do I start telling the man that, may I eat meat, the cows they don't like? You understand? Whereas I enjoy it, I'll eat my meat thereafter. But let's first make sure that, let him invest in buying me the lunch, we eat the vegetarian food, it's okay. So let's enjoy it and have a very good time and enjoy the food. Third, which is my third last point, leverage on existing contacts. A third way to find new clients as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, as a contractor is leverage on your existing contacts. You can reach out to your previous or current clients, colleagues, friends, family members who might have connections or referrals you might to your preferred destination country. You understand? That's why you find that Nigerians are ahead of us because they leverage on their contacts. Or even Chinese. One Chinese comes in, another Chinese is going to come in, and a third one, a fifth one, a sixth one is going to come in. Indians do the same. But in Uganda, when someone enters it, it's only their ground. So change that. Use your contacts. Your contacts may not give you money, but they may open a door for you. Your contacts may not do something, but they may advise you. So maximize them in that kind of perspective and use the potential. So however, when also using the contacts, please, I repeat, be very aware and careful when it comes to ethical and being also transparent when leveraging on these contacts. People don't want to be used. So that's why you need to be very transparent when you're using their contacts. Be very transparent when you're using their names. If today, let's say, you're doing any work and at Wiley Collins, you're using me as a referee, or my name is on your brand, how sure am I that you're not going to use it for other things? You understand? Or that Joan Nakaiwa, that you know very well that at the end of the day, I'm not going to use it for something else. So make sure you capitalize on it. And the fourth point to that is create a personal brand, which we talked about already. I mentioned it earlier, and I just want to end it because these are the basics. You can also create valuable content, such as articles or videos, ebooks, or even still, you can use SEO, search engine or optimization, emails to reach out to your people, and also social media. Let them know you as a professional. Those of you on Twitter, you must be knowing there's a girl who calls herself the CEO. She deals in coffee. Today, if you're on Twitter, chances are you'll get to know her. Why? She has positioned herself as that girl who deals in coffee. Look at Amos Wekesa. He has used social media to make sure that you know him as a tourism guru in Uganda. You understand? Look at Mr. Rabogo. Rabogo today, you know him as a guy who is making sure that Uganda and the rest of the world come into interconnectivity. So I'm just using very obvious examples that are very important for all of us. But it takes time to build that kind of network we're talking about. So, lastly, which is the point I mentioned, and from here I welcome your questions. If you have any questions or any thoughts, with mobile monies, it's okay, we shall receive them. A safe way to find new clients as a freelancer in a free country or as an entrepreneur is to adapt to the local market. What does the local market require of us as entrepreneurs, as a freelancer? What does the market look like? What are the needs? What are the preferences? What are the trends for your kind of work and industry? You can also analyze the competition and pricing. You understand? If your clients are charging 1,000 and you're probably charging 5,000, you may be off the hook. So do your pricing based on the research that you've really done well and understand the regulations that govern what you do. And you can use these tailor-made services we talked about, proposal and contracts from the local markets for your own good. And make sure that at the end of the day, if there's going to be any brand the clients are buying, it's not the business brand they're going to buy. It's going to be you. Reputation is key. Let them buy you as a client. Let them buy you as an individual. Let them know you for what you stand for. Let them know you for what you believe in. And above all, make sure that you always keep your end of the bargain. Trust me or not, you can travel any part of this world. You can always go there. And by the way, invest money in always buying a ticket, like I said. Travel. Get to know other parts of the world. And get to follow friends. Every month I make sure I unfriend friends who don't make sense. Sorry to call it that way. I mean, if I'm on social media and I realize there's nothing really we're growing, what more are we doing? You understand? It's not that we're keeping warm for each other on social media. No. How are we growing together? Ask yourself, how are we growing? How do we grow as a collective? So, Mr. Ando Tugumi, I want to thank you for the initiative with the team and the leadership for inviting me to this platform. I thank you, everyone who has listened to me. I must have spoken longer than maybe I should have, but I made sure that I had to share what I think I believe in. If you need my thoughts, you need my suggestions, I'm on social media or across all platforms. That's Newton Karera. Inbox me. I'll be happy to respond. I may not respond in time. I'll always make an effort to respond. But make sure you believe in your brand. Be open to other thoughts. Yeah, over to you. If you have any questions, any queries, I see a hand up from Musingozi. Ms. Andrew, maybe over to you first, or if you want me to go straight to the questions, because we're supposed to stop at 7, we have 30 minutes to go, but I wanted to make sure we stop at the earliest time possible. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. I think, Newton, where we wrote masterclass for you, so MBA. This is a whole MBA in one.
Not at all, my brother.
The full MBA for you guys. Good enough, it's being recorded. There are people who were falling off. They have bad network. I saw someone from Lira. I'm not going to say their name. They dropped off the call like 6 times. I think your network is not very good. Sorry, but the video is available. Thank you so much, Newton. This is too much information. I've been taking notes. Some of the notes are in the chat in case he was fast for you. But then also the link is going to be added to the playlist, which is also in the chat. So if you have a question, write in the chat. We take the questions and then we close. Simon Peter, your hand has been up. We can begin with you.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much for the session. My question is about, like, how do you distinguish the fake ones, like the ones that are not real? Someone could say, hey, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from here and here, but yet in actual sense, they are not really from there. They're just maybe lying about it. Then also, maybe if you can tell us maybe a little bit about your first experience with something like that, or did you find any fakes? How did you first land your first maybe partnership, and how you got into it? Yeah, thank you very much.
Allow me to show my camera for purposes of clarity.
Should we first gather all the questions, or you want to answer one?
You can. It will be good to advise respond at a time. Maybe it will so that
Okay,
I use 1 minute for each question
let's
to
do
respond
that.
back.
Let's do that.
Mr. Muzu, that's a good question. You'll always get to know. For example, get to check people's profile. You'll see spam profiles, others. There are people who will tell you that, look, I'm called Joshua, but Joshua's profile picture is a woman. Or Joshua is called Musingozi, and you realize the picture is of a white guy somewhere. Those are just indicators to start with. Or it's a picture of a cat. I'm not saying it's always correct. Those are just indicators. Number 2, Joshua has 5 followings or 23 followings only. Or no one, if you see, even if you go to the comment section, how many people are genuinely commenting on Joshua's content? Joshua, if I know you today, I'll use Musingozi as an example. Musingozi, if I know you today, my response to you will be personal. I will not just, oh, good job. No. There'll be responses that are very, very authentic. Number 2, that's what I said. If there's anything that is monetary, if it's not you giving them money, assess it. Ask them, can we come into a legal understanding between you and the people? Number 2, if they're happy to have a phone call with you, ask yourself, can you bring a third party like a lawyer to the call? You know, Nigerians, I'm sorry to say, they have led that way with Indians. They have led that way of, you know, scammers rather. But make sure that use your instincts as well. So, you know, don't waste too much time getting to know. If the person doesn't want to accept the terms, for example, can we have a call, video call preferably, get to know them. Let them send a link of their website. That's why I said we want to, if I can come up with Andrew to come up with a support where we have legal and accounting firms that can support individuals like you at no cost really. It will be useful because sometimes you may want to consult a lawyer, but you don't have the cash there and then. So they can just do their understanding of such individuals to know if they're actually authentic or not. But use your common sense, see the profile picture. It's Newton. How many posts has Newton had in the past 1 year? I can't wake up today and also be very, very a lot of big figures all of a sudden. That tells you have a contract of $2 million or $50,000. I want to send it to you. Those are all scammers. You can always use your instinct. So that's why you need to cross-check with your colleagues. My first experience, I think I had a partner I believed we could do some work with. The work went on for the longest time. It took me 2 months. I realized that when I got to know the client was authentic, I didn't have to put my eggs all in one basket. Because the culture he deals with, he comes from is a culture, they want to take their time to know you, to understand the project. They will take even 6 months to just deliver to the TORs, even a year. So just make sure that you're not tying yourself down to one person. And most importantly, have something bigger than the client. Remember, your dream is not limited to this person. So you can always have things that are bigger than just the client and have things that are bigger than the particular project you're talking about. The first time, of course, I had clients who I dealt with. You know, I made sure I wanted to make the money, but I had to show them it's not just about the money. It's about how can we actually work together. So for me, that was a very important aspect, which eventually I think worked for them. They got to realize that my agenda was I wanted to make money, but it was not the primary objective. I was in for us to foster a relationship and a partnership that was genuine and also keeping my word. If I said I was going to deliver something, I will deliver it. So that was part of my experience. But in the interest of time, I'll sum it up at that. Musingozi, like I said, all social media platforms you can reach out. I'll be happy to chat with you, respond more adequately. But I hope my response is genuine and useful for you. Thank you.
Yeah, then one
more
Richard.
from
Richard.
Thank you so much, Newton. Maybe for me, the question I would want to ask is, how do you connect with clients in the international domain? Thank you.
All right, Richard, I think I mentioned some. I said one, join communities, join platforms, make sure you build strong online profiles. Those are a few to mention. By joining communities, I mean, you'll join communities that, let's say, for example, the Innovation Village is hosting a masterclass or a freelance business accelerator. If you get to hear of it, join it. Because there you're going to connect with another person. So join networks that allow for you to get to that kind of understanding. 2, make sure you build a strong profile. Because also when clients want to relate with you, they're also going to do their own research on you. What profile does Richard have? What is he talking about? If you've noticed, most times when you meet someone, they'll say, hey, hi, how are you? Good, I'm Newton. Your name, you're Richard. Richard, what do you do? If you've noticed, that's most times the first question someone asks you, because that's why they cut you off or they keep you. So when I ask you, what do you do? I'm genuinely interested in hearing you out. I'm not talking about the whole album. You know, you have the latest album series, release it. No. Sum it up. Have a 1-minute conversation with someone and say, even 30 seconds, this is what I do. I do security services. My niche is making sure I do VIP security. I do cyber security. I make sure that I have a training school that provides services to people. We supply equipment for security companies. You know, we train people to make sure security companies are providing more legitimate and professional services, as opposed to security companies that have been in Uganda that don't do professional services. I'm straight. That is enough for them to get to know that. Richard, are you there? Hello?
I can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I can hear you well.
Those are platforms. Number two, you've seen during today's platform, when we get to know professionally now what we do, because I'm not going to tell you that, oh, come and join me, we go to the UK, or we go to China, or Hong Kong. But when I get to know what service you bring to the table, what service will you bring to the platform, I'll get to connect with you more professionally. And I want to encourage us as young people, Andrew, thank you for doing this. Imagine it's a Friday. Most of you will have gone somewhere, like I said. I heard the Blue Threes are having a performance. I don't know if it's to do somewhere. You'll have already been somewhere else. But guess what? You should join professional platforms. As young people, we are the youngest population. We are the big number. The question is, ask yourself every day, which platform am I joining? Don't just join every platform, but which platform can I join that can add value to me? Can we host conversations that can allow for us to engage and have meaningful collaborations? Maybe, who knows? From today's conversation, I may get to know you, you may get to know me. Who knows, in a month or 6 months, boom, something comes out well. I'll give an example. Yesterday, a gentleman called me. Hi, Newton. I want to, can I have a meeting with you? And I was not really in for a meeting because I had something to prepare for. But I made sure I had an online engagement. What did he have? He's like, oh, I'm a content creator. I want us to create content together. I'll be I want to be you to be the guy. Then I'll be creating content through you. And I'm like, okay, so what are the terms? He mentioned it. But guess what? If I'm going to use this content, if you create content through me, I'm going to put his watermark or logo in everything I do. That gives him mileage. Tomorrow they're going to look for him. I'll say, that is the guy. So referrals come from genuinely people appreciating your work and your connection, getting to understand you more. And lastly, I said it. Don't underestimate the power of social media. Use it well. Use it well. Use it well. Use it well. You never know where it will take you. Because you're dealing with a population that is across, that knows no visa, that knows no passport. They will connect with you. So use it well to the best of your ability and your knowledge. Thank you. Richard, I hope I've helped you to an extent in the response.
Wow. This is fire in the microphone. Newton, you are loaded, my friend. You are very loaded. So this video is going to be available. Me personally, I think I'm going to listen one more time. Let's take only one question from a lady, and then we sign out. The females in the house, one question, and then we sign out. Don't fear, just ask, and then we close. Because I know any question from the female species? Lovis, Lucy, Helen, Priscilla. Do you have questions? Okay, or a question from anyone, or someone who has connected dots and they want to add something. Let's make it wider, and then we close. Anyone who has something to share? Anyone who has something?
Maybe it's me who will say something else. Make an
Yes,
effort, guys. Follow each other on social media. Get to know each other at a professional level. Now that you know you all eat pizza, you all know you eat chicken, you all know you can all go hang out, you can hang out. Get to know what service you do that I can support. And if anything, be each other's fan base. One of the most frustrating moments for a fellow young person in this industry is getting to feel no one gets to know what you do. Even your own friends, they're in their own world. So get to know each other, get to know each other on social media, get to know each other at a very professional level. One person on this platform, I don't know if she's still here, I want to be grateful for, is Eunice. Eunice has supported me because we got to know each other at a professional level. She supports the work I do. You know, I've gotten to know, I seek advice where it goes. Someone like Ramhaj, I mentioned his name, for example, because I know what expertise he carries and how much value I can learn from him. You understand? I mean, the power of cross-border engagement, and let me just give you this an example, if you permit me. How I get to know Mr. Andrew, and also we connect with your wife. Andrew, you know how we met, your dear wife. It came from connecting with people. You know each other genuinely from work. You're like, oh, Madam Rachel has a brilliant idea. Oh, who can fit in? Mr. Andrew is the best person. And guess what? Boom, they're married today. So it comes from genuinely knowing each other's craft and appreciating it and growing together. So if you can get to know each other beyond just the WhatsApp, good morning, what's the plan today? Yeah, you know, Zambe, things will work for you. Away from that, get to know each other. If you're an introvert, you may not speak a lot of words, try and go for digital space. Use it to market yourself. Let the digital space speak for you. That's why if you meet some people, you realize that the guy speaks less in person, but on social media, they will chat all the English and the language ever you can ever want to hear. Use it to your own advantage, but most importantly, believe in yourself. Believe that if others can cross that border, why not me? Believe that it's possible. So for those who are Christian, trust God and say, God, I can do this thing and it's possible for me. So if you're Christian, trust your Heavenly Father that, God, I know this can work for me. You understand? If others can go to Hong Kong, why not? Why am I a local person? I can't be local until I die. No. I need to cross borders. You understand? Me, I chose in my life, in my family, I will not die a local man. Never. You understand? You may associate with me locally, but I know I keep it international. Simple as that. Even when your family members don't believe in you, believe in yourself. So the strong belief in you matters. You may realize you start a business, you don't have the capital, your friends don't believe in you, family don't believe in you. Even getting school fees is a problem. My friend, that shouldn't define where you're going. It shouldn't define who internationally should relate with you. Those are my words to you. And above all, whenever you make a milestone, I'm a strong believer that, or faith that, trust God and say, God, thank you. Have gratitude also for the milestone you've made. Maybe you came from Rukunjiri. Now you've reached Kampala. That's cross-border already. Thank God for Rukunjiri to Kampala. You understand? If you can be grateful for Rukunjiri to Kampala, I came from Arua. So Arua to Kampala is a big step, my friend. I crossed River Nile. I came in a bus. Here I am today. I'm like, I'm not going to stop with a bus, my friend. I need to go across the world. So that's why I'm just telling you in a funny way. But also keep improving on your skills. Become a member who is an advisor on some boards. People see your skill set, they appoint you. And achievements that can give you the recognition that they'll say, this award goes to so and so because they've done X, Y, Z. I thank you all. God bless you. God bless Mr. Andrew Tugume and the Qraft for inviting me, for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I wish you a very, very pleasant weekend. Take care of yourselves. And I will say, enjoy your weekend responsibly. Drink responsibly. Those who drink, those who pray. Those who have sex, please use protected sex. I will advise you as fellow young people, if you want to be a leader, become a leader. Don't be afraid to be a great person. Become the best you can ever be. That's what I can tell you. God bless you. And God bless Newton as well. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are in the presence of a presidential candidate 2026. Newton, did you want to unveil it on the call, or I have
I want to run for presidency in 2036 for this country. 2036. Okay. I want to be 45 years old when I run. For now, let's build a whole community that believe in an agenda of change, of wealth accumulation, and for people that we all believe in a common agenda. Thank you.
Nice.
I agree to you.
I see, Collins, it's as if you have a question, and Charity, I don't know. If it's burning, you ask. If it's not, we sign out. Charity, Collins, if you have something that is on your heart, you can ask. If none, you let me know, then we sign out. Charity, I saw your hand, and Collins, your mic was off. Do you have something? Was I mistaken? Okay. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Newton. It's been a wonderful week. It's been very beautiful. See you next week. Same time, same link.
Bless you all. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you.